And it was in this setting that I formulated an idea. What if I could make a long-form, irresistible piece of content that I knew that these streamers couldn't resist, they couldn't avoid the temptation of watching it the second it was published?
I don't have an issue with them.
It's not that I wanted these people to steal my video. It's that I knew they would. I knew they would watch the entire video, add little to no commentary, react to it instantly, giving them no time to form an—
A lot of people are gonna fucking dick suck Ethan Klein for this and say, oh, what a big brain move, when in reality, well, no fucking shit. You are in a highly contentious online war with these people. Figure of speech, by the way. I'm being metaphorical here. Of course, they're going to be eager to see what you have to say when you take a shot at somebody that they've been supporting unconditionally for the last couple of years. Somebody that you have proclaimed as public enemy number one in your sphere. Especially when all of your politics align. There's nothing worse than like community infighting.
Opinion. The trap was set, and it worked even better than I imagined it would. We captured pretty much every large streamer reacting to it in its entirety immediately after it was published. Now the thing is, there were a few people that went above and beyond to commit copyright infringement. For example, Denims sits here silently with nearly 50,000 live viewers. That's 30 times her regular viewership. She's working directly with the Snark subreddit moderators to siphon views, and their intentions couldn't be clearer. Here's an excerpt from a stickied post from the Snark subreddit. Hey everyone, we've seen a lot of comments about wanting to watch the nuke without showing support for H3. Here's a list of creators who've supported our sub.
There's no way. There's no way he's actually suing creators individually. There's no way he's actually suing creators individually for this stuff. Dude. He might have his reasons. He might be well within his right to do so. Because I'm already like speculating what arguments he's about to make. And if they're if they're genuinely trying to create like a market replacement, then he could have his like good reasons. But this just sets like a terrible precedent as a YouTube creator who fought for fair use in the past to then sue somebody for like something that hasn't been really like tackled before. Even though you could argue that what they're doing isn't fair use, like on principle of allowing content to be like utilized on YouTube, why would you do this?
Either by—
It seems like a huge 180.
By engaging with us directly or citing our post in their critique of H3. Here they're offering these streamers as market substitutes for my work. This is the cardinal sin of copyright infringement. The Snark subreddit has been a frequent and persistent infringer. That's how I knew when this video came out, the Snarkers were going to encourage, promote, and push streamers to commit copyright infringement. I should thank the Snarkers actually. Because of their predictability, they acted like double agents for us, incriminating their favorite streamers and serving them up on a golden platter. So, thank you.
Yeah, okay. Fuck, dude. Fuck. Fuck!
Snark. It's one thing for a subreddit to admit it's engaging in copyright infringement. But how do you get the streamers themselves to admit that they're—
Dude. This is bad. This is pretty bad. This is pretty fucking bad.
Stealing content.
Like yeah, you could possibly make it like an understandable legal argument as to why these individuals should be sued. And you could probably even catch them red-handed, completely dead to rights with the idea, completely dead to rights with them like wanting to create a market substitute. Absolutely. But on principle, especially in the YouTube sphere, this is fucking insane. On principle of like basically saying that where essentially the meta is reaction content and it is free game to like utilize content to create more content. Again, on principle alone, this is just fucking like insane. Maybe he's baiting again. Maybe he's just baiting and he has like something insane to like explain or argue here.
Well, guys,
but I'm pretty sure even like most individuals, even though he may be well within his legal right, I'm pretty sure most individuals will be heavily conflicted with this. Because at a surface level, without understanding the caveats and nuances, this seems like a huge hypocrisy move from Ethan Klein.
If you enjoyed not giving any views to that terrible video, follow, subscribe, throw a prime, If you liked the content, if you enjoyed your time here.
It turned
If you enjoy not giving any views to that terrible video, thank you for watching me instead. Consider giving me money for stealing content is essentially what this is going to be framed as.
Turns out they just do
Fucking
it
hell.
for you. You couldn't cook up a more incriminating
Fucking hell, dude.
statement if you tried. Denims, the queen of self-owning, you prevail again. There's one thing about copyright you should know is that you got to register it before you publish to be eligible for statutory damages and attorney's fees, which is the main biting force of a copyright infringement lawsuit.
But I'm pretty sure that YouTube already does that for you with a license, with like a YouTube license. And if not, you can put your own license in place as well.
Well, I'm happy to tell you guys now. I, Ethan Klein, have registered Hasan Piker Content Nuke with the United States Library of Congress. Some of you guys out there sweating? Even though theoretically I could sue a lot more creators.
His case seems strong based on vibes. That was like my initial, that's literally my initial impression, is that he might have like a really good case on a legal argument. But on YouTube principle, this might actually like rub a lot of people the wrong way. This might that's literally my first impression. He might have like a great legal argument, but like on principle, this seems incredibly hypocritical, at least on a surface level. I'm not prepared to make that like my definitive claim. It's difficult. I don't know how I would even begin to argue this. It just he might be in the right on his own terms from a legal perspective, but I don't know how to feel about it specifically.
Even though theoretically I could sue a lot more creators and rake in millions of dollars, but the purpose of this is not financial gain. People like XQC and Asmongold may have watched the entire thing, but I would never sue them just for doing that. I don't want to chill the reaction community into fear. Actually, the opposite. I hope that we can all unite against this type of egregious behavior that not only makes us all look bad, but could destroy the commentary community as we know it.
I don't know how I feel about that. This sounds bad, but in reality, it's good for you is the vibe that I'm getting from that whole claim. This sounds bad. And theoretically, somebody could utilize this to disrupt an entire form of content creation, but this is actually a good thing. And I hope that instead of having more liberty at reacting to content at whichever way you want, I hope that we could all unite and set a stronger standard for how we should be reacting to content. Does this not seem like an incredibly heavy-handed play? Because that's what I'm feeling. That's exactly what I'm getting from this. Dude. I just... This just sounds incredibly bad no matter which way you, like, spin it. I don't see how you could possibly... Like, unless you're going strictly from a legal perspective, I don't see how you could, like, possibly really align with Ethan Klein 100%. It seems incredibly dubious.
Well, guys, if you enjoyed not giving any views to that terrible video, follow, subscribe, throw a prime.
The state of reaction content on Twitch is so broken, these creators feel comfortable looking right into a camera and saying outright, hey, I'm stealing this guy's content. Pay me instead of him. This is not a healthy environment. And with people like Hasan reacting to entire TV shows on stream, my fear is that Sony or Disney comes along, sues everybody, and sets a devastating precedent.
It's really just like a YouTube cultural thing. QQ. Like at the end of it, like I agree with what you're laying down from a legal perspective, and I think he's within his rights to do so. Absolutely. You know, from first impression, I haven't watched the entire video yet, obviously. But from like a YouTube sort of cultural perspective and like what the standards are and like the principles that people uphold and people not being like very comfortable with like, you know, with like heavy restrictions on what it means to like utilize content for fair use, this sets sort of a bad standard. Did you get to the Reddit post yet? I mean, I'm only 7 minutes in. I'm not sure where it would be. Are you referring to the previous one where people are like, hey, if you want to not give Ethan Klein a view, that was already shown. And I can understand that. I can agree with you know, not essentially creating a market replacement for somebody's content and then allowing like people to profit off of it.
precedent that could endanger our entire field. Now, before I tell you who the 3 people I'm suing are,
under that standard, I absolutely understand Ethan Klein's what's the word? I absolutely understand Ethan Klein's like right to sue. I absolutely understand why he would be within his right to pursue this action. Absolutely. But I'm referring to like the broader implications that this has.
I just want to make it clear that they all met this very specific high bar of criteria that I set forth.
Yeah, yes, for himself specifically, to be clear, I think he's well within his right to be doing this. As an individual, as a business, as a brand, legally speaking, he is absolutely, at least at first glance, me not being that educated on the law, I think he's well within his right. However, as a precedent for the larger YouTube culture, for the larger content creation culture, this seems heavy-handed as a standard to set for content creators.
Earlier, these people were not targeted based on their gender, their identity, their political beliefs. All 3 are on this list. In fact, they're the only 3, as far as I could tell, that reacted to the full video. Drum roll, please. Who's sweating at home, guys? Kaceytron, the queen of ripping farts and bong loads.
They do musicals. They're very musical people. Are you being serious? Dog, what do you... Look! You think I made this?
Frogan, who, bless her soul, she's still rising.
Can I walk away and use the bathroom? Do I have permission? Can I use the bathroom, please? I'll leave it playing.
Yeah, it's obviously very easy to avoid getting sued, but I'm thinking more of like from the perspective of freedom, which is kind of silly, I know. Like, I think regardless of content, I mean, this is entirely my personal feelings, right? I think regardless of how you react or the content that you're reacting to, and I don't mean this in the way of theft, I think people should be able to react to content whichever way it is that they can react to it. Sometimes people will be incredibly silent. Sometimes people won't add a lot of commentary. Other people will just be like, hey, I don't really care about this, but I'll hear what he has to say anyways, right? There's going to be a lot of different people that go about reacting to content in separate ways. I try to add as much commentary as I can for every minute of the video that's available because of concerns like these. I think it sort of sets like an idea that, no, you now have to abide by these standards of creating significantly more engaging content, which I don't have a problem with, but I wouldn't want to like essentially like set a precedent for everybody to be that way. I think people should have the freedom to like go about things whichever way they want, as long as they don't actively try to create a market replacement for the content that they're essentially ripping. Because I will absolutely like stand on the idea that doing lazy reactions is almost close to theft, if not just unethical, right? But I don't think people should be like pressured to really like, I don't know. I don't think they should be like scared or essentially pressured into adjusting how it is that they go about content creation.
Apparently thinks...
I mean literally earlier in the video when he says I know that what I'm like the precedent that I'm set like I know that the standard that I'm setting right now could be used to sue a large amount of creators. I'm not going to do that. And I know that this seems like a scary thing because it could disrupt an entire form of content creation, such as commentary channels. But I hope that with this, it's not something to be scared about, but rather something that we could utilize to unify each other, to unify ourselves, and be better. Now that, to me, that sounds like, yeah, stuff like this can be used against you, but hopefully what you come from this is that you start essentially climbing the ranks and becoming a better creator, which I don't necessarily disagree with, but it seems sort of, I don't know, like it seems heavy-handed. I just don't have like a better word for it. I'm willing to be contested on that, though. I'm willing to like argue about this. Or be argued to. No. It's not not from a legal perspective, QQ. I agree with his legal idea. I don't disagree with like the rights that he has. I'm talking from like the perspective of like how this would come across culturally to YouTubers. I'm thinking about how this will come across culturally to like other people engaging with these ideas, looking into it, and having their brains be like, you know, sort of scratched by what he's laying down. I don't think that he's doing like something wrong per se independently with his actions, but I think it'll rub people the wrong way, and it'll come across as very heavy-handed to a lot of people, just from like, you know, a like an engagement perspective, somebody reacting to this and having certain feelings at what's being presented to them.
Which is liable for me interviewing a Yemeni teenager who's only known genocide his entire life.
What
And they were
happened?
fucking talking
And Denims, the queen of self-owning. And my God, is she the queen of that?
It's very obvious from the
I mean, yeah, I think Astro lays it out pretty clearly from like a random onlooker, from like, you know, sort of a layman looking in. We're not a layman. Layman's probably the wrong word to utilize here. As a normie looking in, the idea that you're gonna get is like you can be sued if you're considered lazy enough. Is essentially what the vibe that people are gonna get from this.
way that guy's talking, he's a Sneeko fan.
Oh my God, bro, I love you, Hasan. Can I give you a hug, bro?
I'm so sweaty, bro.
I love you, bro.
None of the hostages that have been released so far have said that they have been raped. The hostages have public statements. You can go look at them.
The sexual assault I experienced should never happen to any human being.
This Yemeni kid is just a Yemeni kid with a gun and is not a Houthi, and there is no proof of him being a Houthi.
Are you a soldier? Yes. That seems pretty definitive.
He never said Hasan Nasrallah was a good guy.
I can't believe I'm calling Nasrallah base. I mean, listen.
Now for the fun part. Let's take a look at the complaints. And let's start with my favorite of the three, the very own, the prestigious, the highly acclaimed, the highly analytical Kaceytron.
A lot of people have been wanting to watch this without necessarily supporting Ethan Klein. So we're going to watch it.
Well, that's a really dumb thing to say, don't you think? Why are you so comfortable? We've given each complaint a clever little title, and here's Kaceytron's. She smoked more than she spoke. Kaceytron smokes 42 times during her reaction. And just as a
Your laziness is at my discretion. I deem you lazy. Get sued. Thank
silly
you.
thought experiment, we thought, wouldn't it be funny if she spent more time smoking than she did talking? And thinking there was no way that that could be true. Well, we tallied them up, and lo and behold, there's 15 minutes, 40 seconds of commentary versus 18 minutes and 50.
I mean, who knows if he's actually going through with a lawsuit? I mean, he is petty enough. He literally has said that he is petty enough to even go down. He is petty enough to, like, take a loss and go down fighting. He has said that. I don't know if this could be, like, a criticism piece more so than an actual legal battle.
55.
But again, I haven't gotten to like his conclusion. He could like do a little switcheroo and be like, kidding, not actually suing anybody, but I really could. So you better fucking watch yourself. I don't like using terms like those, Lumpy Willy, because I'm not really good at utilizing them. But this does seem like a slippery slope, and I'll utilize your comment to make that argument so that I don't have to make it myself, because I don't like using terms like those.
From smoking 42 times.
What is happening? I'm trying to follow. I've lost the plot.
I don't like your
complaint
commentary. See you in court.
Continues. Indeed, Kaceytron is often too obliterated to comment on the nuke, and instead stares blankly at her computer screen. In a span of 2 hours and 7 minutes, Kaceytron smokes marijuana, frequently in highly concentrated forms through vaporizers, on
Hell yeah, bro! If I'm not ready to utilize ready to utilize a claim myself, I'll just hedge my bets on another person.
42 separate occasions. At one point, Kaceytron is so wasted that she states, quote, "What is happening? I'm trying to follow."
But that's kind of like what I was trying to like lay out earlier, but I just wasn't fully prepared. But I think this is a very slippery slope, is what I'm willing to argue, but only from the cultural perspective, not necessarily the legal sense. If people really wanted to do this, they could have done this a long time ago. And as a matter of fact, some people already go out of their way to abuse DMCA complaints anyways. So I don't think much really changes there. But I don't even think that this would really affect anything long term, to be clear. But for somebody like H3H3, it gives off a really like sour taste, so to speak.
But I've lost the plot. To give you an idea, the majority of her commentary comes down to this.
It's not necessarily about the people that he's suing, again, to be clear. It's about what he claimed in regards to this potentially being utilized, not necessarily by himself, to disrupt an entire like content model, and then claimed, "Oh, but don't worry. I hope that we could actually utilize this to unify ourselves and become stronger." Stronger in what sense? In the sense that everybody has to like significantly up and play like very, very carefully on how it is that they go about reacting to these things on stream, which is an incredibly important way that people like, create money as streaming, especially in this sphere, right? And by sphere, I mean like the general sphere, not just like the ones that we're in, right? I'm talking about people that stream these types of contentions for views, which would include people like Asmongold, Tectone, even me at the very, very bottom of the totem pole, right? It creates a sort of idea that at any point in time, depending on what we deem necessary of what you have to do to actually benefit from reaction content, you can get sued, or we can take something out on you.
I don't understand this bit that he's doing.
I would say that it feels like that the statements that he's making here feel heavy-handed. I think that he's well within his right to take out legal action on these individuals, considering that you could argue what they're doing is legitimate theft. But in the cultural sense, even though he's right on this, what he claimed about everybody else does feel like a slippery slope. First, it's these individuals that legitimately are egregious actors. But then what'll determine fair use along the lines? And then of course a judge can decide. And of course there will be like legal measures to like protect people later down the line. But it's everything in totality, which I hate making a point for because I should be able to explain. But Ethan Klein has argued fair use in court before and won. Ethan Klein has been one of the main proponents of you should be allowed to utilize content fairly and not get sued for it. And I know these people aren't being unfair, but it seems like sort of wishy-washy, so to speak.
He's read more books than you could ever imagine.
CPM's coming out of Qatar.
What the
But
hell
you
is
kids love
going
anime,
on?
right?
He's read more books than you could ever imagine.
What is happening?
I guess I wouldn't utilize the term heavy-handed then. I would definitely more so utilize the term slippery slope. I think that is more appropriate to say.
I'm trying to follow. I've lost the plot.
They do musicals. They're very musical people. I know. Are you being serious? Dog, what do you look? You think I made it?
Also, and I'm not gonna like utilize this as a legitimate claim, but more so as like a thought experiment, more so as like a thought in general. And I might be like overreacting here. But what about other individuals that'll take a look at something like this and be like, well, what if I start applying like stricter licensing on my content? And I'm speaking out of my ass right now to be expressly clear. What if I decide to also submit my content with Congress so that I can like start suing people over it, and then I start suing everybody and start raking in millions of dollars for like lazy reactions that I could easily classify as like market replacements? What about other creators that, or other like, bad faith actors that could utilize Ethan Klein's like, plot here or plan to specifically go after egregious individuals to then target anybody they deem sufficiently lazy and start going after them?
This isn't a music video.
It's a possibility that I'm not fully prepared to like, lean on, but it is a possibility.
And as dumb as all of that is, this is the part that really got her sued.
A lot of people have been wanting to watch this without necessarily supporting Ethan Klein. So we're gonna watch it. What the fuck is going on here?
Stating outright that her
Like stuff like this, you could definitely argue market replacement. He's well within his right to sue.
intention of doing this.
And I would even agree. Some of these people should be given a slap on the wrist for essentially promoting theft. Or not a slap on the wrist, but just a slap in general, like a really, really strong slap.
Is so that people who don't want to support me can watch it through her, is why copyright infringement laws exist. You could not and should not do that, especially if your commentary consists of you taking
like this I generally agree with. Long
loads. At least try to engage with the content. Whoa, what was that? Oh, sorry. That was a flying star. It almost got me. You know her and you love her, guys. Frogan. Reaction by exiting. Here she is getting up to leave the video running as she steps out of the room. Is that transformative? I guess the judge will decide. She said, quote, "It's time to watch the new nuke ethically. Hell yeah." Huh. Very smart to say on camera, by the way. She said, quote, "Thank you guys so much. I do appreciate everyone's support. And thank you for watching it with me." Well, you are so welcome, and I'm so glad that you were able to enjoy that day. Her commentary is so non-existent that even her own fans begin to call her out.
I don't have anything to say? Dude, because he's cycling the same fucking points over and over again. What more commentary do you need on him repeating the same fucking points for the whole first hour and 1 minute and 32 seconds? It's been the same shit over and over again. This video could have been condensed into 20 fucking minutes. Like, what commentary do you want me to add by, like, oh, this guy's a fucking idiot, he's mentally ill, and he's having a mental breakdown and uploaded it to fucking YouTube? Like,
which wouldn't be criticism, by the way. So yeah, she could be. She's literally admitting to not being capable of actually providing criticism, reacting to the content in full, taking advantage of the fact that she could utilize this stream to not give support to Ethan Klein. Like I said, initially, on this perspective, I could definitely see why he would have a case against these people.
You're gonna make at least one good point. What do you want me to make a point on?
Oh, I forgot. She also said, "Can I use the bathroom, please? I'll leave it playing." You may use the bathroom, Frogan, although I don't advise it.
Also, if he's gonna go, okay, this isn't an argument that he's making. But let's say hypothetically he did make an argument where Frogan wasn't really necessarily actually providing criticism for fair use and was instead being insulting. Then what about people like, for example, a Cheeto, or people like Pegasus, or people like people like Pegasus that don't really provide commentary, rather utilize bits and pieces of other people to do their commentary for him, and then just throw insults out rather than actually give criticism for the sake of fair use? What about situations like that?
Can I?
I mean, I don't like Pegasus, but what about situations like that?
Use the bathroom, please. I'll leave it playing.
This into your stomach. And let me state the obvious. Jew and
apparently thinks Twitch is liable for me interviewing a Yemeni teenager who's only known genocide his entire life.
What happens?
Fucking talking about
well, you just pause it. That's it. You just pause the video, right? Like, you get up and you go to the bathroom, you just pause it. They should be watching for you. But if you get up to go to the bathroom and they keep watching my video, they're clearly not watching for you, right? As lazy and pathetic as her reaction is, this is not why she's getting sued. This is.
Thank you guys so much. I do appreciate everyone's support. And thank you for watching it with me. First time viewer, time to watch the nuke ethically? Hell yeah. I found my way from Reddit. Hi guys, welcome Reddit people. Reddit?
Yeah, literally taking advantage of a plot to create a market replacement for his content. It's clear cut, I would have to say.
Reddit people.
But again, that's me being uneducated on the law.
I came from the H3 Snark Reddit. Ethan is so pathetic while Hasan is in Japan. I'm bothered having a great time. Exactly. We're gonna watch it live, yes. He doesn't want people to know when it's dropping because we're all watching through other streamers. And I suggest you all watch it through other people as well.
It's the stated...
Straight up market replacement. Straight up fucking market replacement. Rest in fucking peace.
Dropping because we're all watching through other streamers. And I suggest you all watch it through other people as well.
It's the stated malicious intent to steal. They talk about watching ethically, but I learned not to steal when I was 5. Up next is Denims. And honestly, just take a look at this, guys. It's a nightmare on Denim Street. Not only did she chair react, but she was kind enough to write her name right at. Here's some quotes from Denims. "We're relying on you to stay live so we don't have to give the nuke views. Yeah, I'm gonna stream it. Since he's confirmed it's coming out today, I'm gonna stream it." That is very explicit.
Red-handed.
Denims.
I agree that he is well within his right. To sue these people. And it might actually even be a good move from his perspective, as like, because to Ethan Klein, this isn't just internet bullshit, right? To Ethan Klein, this is personal. From a personal perspective, I think that, yeah, fuck it. You know, he can. If he wants to be petty, and if he genuinely believes to be this like this to be an incredibly huge offense, then he can go right the fuck ahead and do whatever it is that he wants to. But on the cultural side of thing, again, as a precedent to YouTube, I can't help but like feel, I don't know, conflicted about this.
Said, quote, "Well, guys, if you enjoyed not giving any views to that terrible video, give me a follow, subscribe, throw a prime if you like my content." Your content? The Queen of Self-Own included a
I'm gonna watch this content, Nuke, so that other people don't have to watch it through Ethan. Hey, please give me money while I essentially take this content and create a market replacement, which only strengthens the illegal argument.
countdown timer. So
people need to be more proactive. People need to be more proactive. They need to have more fucking, what's the word that I'm looking for here? People need to be significantly more proactive and make sure to take countermeasures and imply preventative like fixes for things before something becomes an issue. Or else, later down the line, something like this could come and bite you back in the ass. It's so irritating when people don't like look after themselves. Or else stuff like this happens. Because as much as I like to say it, as much as I like to say that I hate Hasan, that I hate Denims, that I hate Frogan, I don't actually hate them. I just think it's easy to criticize like such blatant levels of stupidity. Like such blatant high levels of stupidity. But I don't think they deserve to be like financially ruined and have their lives like, you know, raped for however long they need to. I think for the most part, most people deserve a level of like stability and a level of happiness. So yeah, I would have rather they didn't do something so stupid, as petty as it is. But fuck it, I guess it's content for us now. So
I could tell exactly how long she was away. After being gone for a few minutes, she returns and then sits silently for another couple of minutes eating.
I'm gonna go pee, and hopefully, when I'm back, they're done with this.
All right.
You do look better.
dude,
Mr. 3.
they're fucked. They're fucked. I'm not gonna say they're ard because they're women. But fuck.
Go 5. I see it.
Dude, you should do this.
I have an alternate.
We're relying on you to stay live so we don't give more views on the nuke. Yeah, I'm gonna stream it. Since he confirmed it's coming out today, we're gonna stream it. If you want to watch it with someone else who's already watching it, you know, come enjoy the watch party somewhere else. If you enjoyed not giving any views to that terrible video, follow, subscribe, throw a prime if you like the content, if you enjoyed your time here. Because I'm gonna be honest, I did not want to watch that by myself.
Let me also commercialize it by asking you to reward me financially for stealing his content. That is like chef kiss. By the way, Denims had a very successful stream. She had 43,000 people watching her.
Unprecedented, never seen before. Because the only reason they were watching her was, again, for a market replacement that she created for the original product.
Live. Take a look at the title of her Twitch stream. Ethan Klein Hasan Content Nuke Watch Party. A watch party? I don't think that's fair use. Now, Denims, of course, always delivering the goods. She went on this dude's podcast to debate fair use. And would you be surprised if I told you she said a lot of incriminating things in that podcast? The queen of self-own never disappoints.
I want to be clear on my opinion on like filler content and stuff. Like, I think filler content, like, you shouldn't do it. I know I do it as a React streamer. And I try to do it only when I do it with like Vox videos or Vice videos and stuff like that. Because at least I'm not like directly ripping from one content creator and not like a whole team and stuff. And most of those videos have like 5 million views. I only get like 500 viewers. I'm taking maybe 50 views from the video. It's a lot harder to feel like, I guess, bad about that. Whereas like I would feel very bad about doing that to like a single content creator. The majority of people say that they literally wouldn't watch Hell's Kitchen unless I was streaming it. And it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm reacting hard enough. You know, I'm sure if you click on a random part in the video, I might not be saying anything, sure, whatever. And I might walk away from the screen. But it's about like the communal thing. It's why like fuck. Toast started streaming.
I mean, what is there to really say here besides that she's like incredibly self-owning? What more is there to say? She has like, she's not careful She's not. Fuck, dude. What is?
People go to watch streamers on Twitch.
I don't know what to say. I do not know what to say here. Unironically, I'm trying to come up with something because now I feel pressured into giving a reaction and giving commentary. React harder, motherfucker. Is essentially what I'm telling myself in my head. But like, I mean, she's fucking just digging herself in a grave. It's self-evident. You can't do these things. Like, have a watch party with people. You can't fucking steal content to make people come enjoy company with you. That is literally stealing content.
Almost as a curator. So they don't actually want to go through YouTube themselves and watch a bunch of videos. And they probably never will go through YouTube and click a bunch of videos. They like going to Twitch because they like to have it as like, this streamer is curating fun content that I want to watch.
Like, I'm sure
From the people that I've talked to, the people who watch Twitch content are specifically there to watch it so they don't have to scroll through YouTube and find a video they like.
Dude! But that's the problem. You cannot be defending these things. Because it's literally a counter-argument. Not a counter-argument. It is literally antithetical to the idea of fair use and like having the right to react to content. If you're going to react to content, it has to be fair use. And if you're using all of these things as a defense to Hasan, presuming, like, given the fact that this debate was about Hasan / reacting, or this defense text you see, or whoever, you want to, like, actually suggest, you want to, like, actually bring up arguments like, no, he is being fair use because he's offering commentary. But they can't do that because he's not offering commentary. He's not offering criticism. He's not restructuring and creating a new product out of it. Right? None of it is fair use. So all she can say is just, well, actually, when you really think about it, we're doing them a favor because they never would have actually watched these videos if it weren't for us being here, building this community, watching this stuff with us, and then giving them views that way. What she's essentially admitting to here is that, yeah, we are removing like that potential influx of viewership to these individuals by creating a replacement for it. Because if we didn't exist, then their only option would be to go to YouTube and watch those videos. But since they're too lazy to, we'll create that replacement for them so that they can hang out with us instead and watch it through us. This lawsuit is about ending the practice of lazy reaction videos that copy entire copyrighted works and purposefully... Dude, it's given to us in writing! It's given to us in writing! We don't even have to fucking speculate anymore! We don't have to fucking speculate! We don't have to fucking speculate, dude! It's in writing! Remember earlier? Fuck, wrong thing. Hold on. Remember earlier when I said that this could be like a slippery slope and measuring whether or not somebody can be sued, whether or not they are like, after, fuck, dude.
Even though theoretically I could...
Measuring whether or not somebody can be sued based on what you consider lazy reaction. Remember when I said that? Remember when I was like speculating on that earlier? No, we don't have to fucking speculate anymore. Here's the intent. Here's the fucking intent. We don't... Classic. This lawsuit is about ending the practice of lazy reaction videos that copy entire copyrighted works and purposefully siphon views and revenue away from the original. Over 7 years ago, the owners of Plaintiff Ted Entertainment, Inc., TEI, Ethan and Klein, established the legal standard for fair use reaction videos in, Haas versus Klein, which I'm pretty sure was, I'm pretty sure that was Matt Haas, right? Yeah. That was that. As a genre, reaction videos vary widely in terms of purpose, structure, and the extent to which they rely on potentially copyrighted materials. Reaction videos, like the Klein video, that intersperse short segments of another's work with criticism and commentary, constitute fair use. We constitute fair use, but we are now going to determine that some of you guys that we determined to be lazy are not fair use. And in the case of Denims, Frogan, Kaceytron, I think that he has a strong legal argument. I think that it is entirely fair that he is going after other people. But what does this mean for other individuals? I don't know. I don't know if I actually... Maybe I'm being a little bit too emotional about this. Maybe I'm being way too emotional about this. Maybe we should. Maybe we really should go full balls to the wall on raping everybody who does lazy reactions and doesn't really give commentary. Maybe we really should just start raping lazy creators. Maybe that should be the standard that we set. Maybe that really should be the standard that we set. Denim's time to group viewing sessions to coincide with the exact moment TI released the works. Her timing was intended to capitalize on the intense public interest in the works and siphon the maximum amount of views and revenue away from the works to herself by showing the works in their entirety, or nearly in their entirety. The moderators of H3 Snark subreddit the H3 Snark mods heavily promoted Denim's group viewing sessions as an alternative to the original works. As a direct result, Denims group viewing sessions of the works peaked at approximately 45,000 concurrent viewers, or 46,000, rounded up. When her previous streams only achieved approximately 3,300. Or stream, in this case. He's only citing one. But Klein's video from Haas was entitled The Big, the Bold, the Beautiful, and is available here, as a reference to what would constitute fair use in their eyes. The most lazy reaction videos, Denims peppers her group viewing session of TI's works with primarily brief and sporadic observations, which can be categorized as follows. Okay, so he's going on to explain the commentary and why it's not sufficient in this case. Interesting. So I guess we get more of an idea of what the standards are for fair use. Most frequently, Denims will watch long, unadulterated portions of the works and briefly pause to give short, surface-level, and often repetitive observations that provide little to no new information, new aesthetics, new insights, or understandings. Okay, I see. So the term react harder based on these precedents, based on these expectations, if this is to be applied across the board, which I doubt it will, to be clear, I'm just being a little bit, what's the word that I'm looking for here? I'm going a little bit overboard for the sake of a performance. But if this hypothetically were to be utilized across the board, then the term, like the joke, the meme, react harder, right, will not just be a meme anymore. It'll be a genuine expectation. If you were to set set the standard across the board, react harder will genuinely be a legal expectation for you. No new information, new aesthetics, no insights, or understanding. Other times, Denim's commentary has little to no critical bearing on the style or substance. So, again, react harder is quite literally the premise of this lawsuit so far. Or this complaint. Not necessarily. It's a complaint. Not necessarily a lawsuit yet. Rather, she goes off on tangents regarding unrelated subjects or shadow boxes demonstrably false misrepresentations of the contents of the works. On the rare occasion when Denims provides sporadic and brief commentary on the style or substance of the works, she spreads misinformation that is refuted moments later by the works themselves or by the most cursory level of research. On the rarer occasions when she actually shows the factual basis for claim, her statements are refuted by the cited source itself. Such misinformation fails to serve copyright's goal of enriching public knowledge. I see. Alright, I see. This is really strong, actually. This is incredibly strong. I could have not thought of this unless it was cited in I could not have thought of this unless it was cited in a document, well, exactly like this one. Finally, to the contrary, such misinformation diminishes it. Yeah, that's a pretty solid argument, I'd have to say. But again, I'm not very well educated on fair use. Finally, Denims will even do an empty chair reaction, as shown above, where she goes off camera for an extended period of time while letting the video play to keep her audience entertained. The poverty of Denims' commentary, coupled with her highly commercial use of the works that she specifically intended to serve as a substitute for the originals, fails to justify copying TI's works in their entirety, or nearly in their entirety. Rather, Denims' group viewing session is a quintessential example of copyright infringement. The unauthorized exploitation of TI's works to get attention and avoid the drudgery in working up something fresh. This lawsuit is to hold Denims accountable for her infringement and the H3 Snark mods accountable for materially contributing to her infringement. Earlier, I might have been overreacting a little bit. The precedent is a little bit scary to think about, that people could essentially do this to people and then deem certain people lazy enough to, sue them. Absolutely. It's something scary to think about culturally. And it kind of does sort of reflect poorly on H3, given, his past, which he even cites in this case, in these complaints. But at the end of the day, okay. At the end of the day, he's well within his right to sue these individuals. I can't help but to feel that some people could utilize this as an example in the future, but I don't really think it will. It's just scary to think about. It's just sort of scary to think about, and it's kind of insane for Ethan Klein of all people to sort of induce that fear. Yeah, these cases are definitely egregious, but again, how would this reflect on the on the overall YouTube community, on the overall YouTube scene, YouTube culture, and what it means to be a creator? Yeah, I would have to agree. I think him being spiteful specifically and petty is kind of what's like also turning me away from this a little bit more. I don't disagree with what he's like, you know, doing, but I think I think that the intent of like essentially telling creators, don't worry, this isn't going to like harm anybody else, but those who are considered to be lazy enough, we're essentially going to like, you know, we're essentially going to like sue them and rake in billions of dollars. Is what this gives off. Is that Ethan's intent? Unlikely. Highly doubtful. Highly doubtful. Which is I'm pretty sure why he tried making this argument, being like, no, don't worry. If we can establish this as an expectation across the board on YouTube, then people won't just be mooching off your content lazily. People will give an effort to actually react to your content and give meaningful insight, give meaningful criticism, give meaningful reactions, so that the content isn't stale across the board, which I can somewhat agree with. However, on a soy sort of like vibes based, feeling based opinion, it's kind of daunting in a way. Because I think anybody should have the liberty not to steal content, but to go about creating commentary and creating reaction videos or even streaming the way they want to. I don't know. I guess it's sort of like a freedom of speech thing, even though the speech might be lacking in some cases, if that makes any sense. Who knows? I think I'm being soy on this. I'm willing to be like called. I'm more than willing to be called a retard on my opinions on this specifically.